Georgia to a head coach position, and has been with Georgia for 9 seasons prior to being named head coach, made that transition easier?
Sure. Well, thank you first for having me on and for the well wishes. But the transition has gone really smoothly, to be honest. I think the fact that I've been doing this for, not only 9 years here at Georgia, but I think this is like my 27th or 28th year of Division I coaching, that I've been around the block a little bit. So, I feel very comfortable making the move into the head coaching position. And I really found a lot of joy, and certainly I spend my time a little bit differently. The phrase that I've used is I spend a lot more time managing people than I do swings, where in the past, maybe it was a little bit more of managing swings as a hitting coach. So the transition's gone well. We're certainly excited and looking forward to kicking it off next week. Next week.
And how much of Coach Lou's coaching style have you implemented in your own coaching style? And is there anything specifically different with your coaching style that she might not have had? And how have your players responded to that?
Sure. Yeah, well, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of something that I learned from her and how we want to try and implement it in our program. For somebody who's been so successful for so long, and I've said this many times before, in my opinion, she was the best teacher that I've ever been around. And softball happened to be her platform that she got to teach from. But if Kirby asked her to go work with the defensive backs, it wouldn't take her long to figure out how to be one of the best defensive back coaches. If, Joni Taylor wanted her to come work with the guards over there, play defense, I feel quite confident she'd be good at that too. So she's just a great teacher. And we try and use a lot of the models as it relates to teaching that she created. As far as the differences, certainly it's just a difference in personalities. Not only my personality, but the personality of our staff as a whole. And trying to build a program or build on a program. Obviously, there was a great foundation here, but build on a program that can grow with our own personalities.
Mm-hmm. And I have one more. Going back to last season, what improvements have you planned to make in conference play this season? And how much does success in the SEC matter in terms of succeeding in the postseason? Because, y'all had a 17-17 record, but still had a great postseason.
Sure.
How do y'all plan on carrying over into this season with that?
Well, as far as planning to do different than last year, we'd like to win a few more games. So that would be the plan number one.
Yes, sir.
But to do that, we just have to be a little bit more solid and consistent on all phases of the game. I think what we showed last year is that our good was good enough. And for us to then improve on that, we just need to be closer to our level of good more frequently. And I think that's where we found the ups and downs and the peaks and valleys a little bit last year. Our good was good enough to beat anybody. But on any given day, we had the ability to show up, less than our best. And I think just the age and the experience and hopefully some of the things that we've implemented within the program will help us be a little more consistent on that front.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, good to talk to you again and see you. I'm curious about what you've seen from Fincher. If you've seen her take her game to a different level. She had an incredible year last year, an incredible postseason. What have you seen from her this year? What makes her such a great player?
Well, she's uber competitive. That's the first thing. And she just loves to play softball. You put those two things together and you got the makings of a pretty good player right out of the chute. And then, physically, she's got, she just creates a lot of life in the bat. She can work a pretty deep window, so that gives her an opportunity to not only hit for power and for average, but she swings at good pitches. And so, you put all those things together and you've got a shot to be a pretty good player. And then just her personality in general is somebody that everybody enjoys being around. Certainly you guys have heard her talk. That's comedy in itself, of keeping everybody lighthearted. Just listen. I've said it before. She makes our country girls sound like city folk as Southern as she talks. But, we're just thankful she's in the red and black and hoping for a great year for her.
You're going to open up in a good tournament there. Your opener is against somebody you know very well, and Coach Malone, who you coach with on the under 19 U.S. team. What was that experience like coaching with her? And Heather Tarr was on that staff, and Coach Walnut. I know JT knows her as well.
Sure. Yeah, no, Bear is a great friend. Was somebody that we exchange text messages frequently throughout the season on advice and tips. And, she's as good as it comes when it comes to pitching. And so I like to pick her brain on that side. And I try to offer a few things and maybe won't mess up her hitters on the hitting side from time to time. So, just a great friend. Her and her husband, Bobby, and the kids are very close. And certainly we're going to go at each other. Our teams are going to go at each other and compete, on Thursday. But after that, it'll be a big hug. And, we'll be back to our normal friends the rest of the way.
And then my last question for you, and what is one of the things you're looking forward to finding out about your team next weekend? I know, you can only do so many things at practice and scrimmages. Sure. What are some of the things you're looking forward to finding out about your team when you get to live action?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we're at a place where we won't find out more about our team until we start playing somebody else and see what kind of things get exposed. But, I think the things that we're looking for is we spend a lot of time talking about kind of being in a neutral mindset. And that mindset allowing us to be a little bit more consistent. Our ability to just kind of take it one game at a time and really stay in a neutral place mentally, and then just the resilience piece, and I think that's going to be really key to, again, keeping us a little bit more consistent without the peaks and the valleys. So the resilience piece, and then the neutral mindset are the two things that I would come to mind, and then like anything, and the thing that this team has been really strong at is their ability to stay together through the good and the bad that, inevitably is going to come throughout the season. So that's been a strength of this team. And I'm really excited about where we are on our mindset and the resilience piece. And now we'll find out a little bit more when we start playing.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach. I have two questions. First, obviously, Mary Wilson-Avant played a huge role in Georgia's postseason run last year. Which individuals do you look forward to stepping up this season to replace her production on the field and in the locker room?
Sure. Well, she was just a rock star, and but that's part of being in a good program is, there's new opportunities now for other people to be, 3 years ago, Mary Wilson wasn't Mary Wilson, right? She was just the person that was taking Brittany Gray's spot, and Brittany Gray was the one picking up for Chelsea Wilkinson. And that's just part of the process. It's an inevitable piece of the puzzle, but certainly Britton Rogers and Madison Kerpix are two people that'll, carry the load here in the pitching circle initially. And so really excited about what they're doing and how they're throwing, and we'll certainly count on them. And then Kylie Macy and Lauren Mathis both are I think right now that'll be kind of our four-headed monster, if you will, that we'll be trying to go to battle with. So certainly, for us to get where we want at the end, that group is going to have to be resilient. They're going to have to compete and go out there and give us a shot. And then, from there, around the field offensively, we've grown a lot. Just that extra year of belief, their ability to have a little better mindset. So offensively, really excited about where we're at, and that could go to any number of kids. And then defensively, I feel like we've really made a lot of progress with JT.
And then ever since you joined the coaching staff, the Bulldogs have hit over 300 in that span and slugged over 500 in the last five out of the last 7 seasons, and also have hit 415 home runs. What's been the key to that success offensively?
Hugs. I get a lot of hugs. And then recruiting. I think that's probably as much as anything. Because at the end of the day, it's like Kirby Smart says, there's nobody that can outcoach good recruiting. And so when you have good players and you put them in a great environment and you love them up and give them some of your belief in them, they've got a chance to be successful. And so certainly proud of what a number of the girls have done.
Thank you.
I have
Any other questions for Coach Tony?
I have one more question.
Great.
Obviously, your freshman class last year, they played key roles in last season's run, like with Sydney Chambly. How is this freshman class looking this year, and how have the upperclassmen reached back to those underclassmen in terms of developing relationships and just meshing together for this season?
Yeah, I think last year's freshman class was special, not only in its talent, but in its size. There's a whole bunch of them, right? I think we started the fall with 10 true freshmen. Then you throw in 5 COVID freshmen that are kind of doing the redo. And so we had a whole bunch of freshmen. This group isn't as large. I think we have 2 players right now that are probably closer to competing at this level. We have the others, I think, will play a role for us, but not as prominent here in the early going. But Lindy Ray Davis is a catcher and a lefty hitter that's got some good power and the ability to swing the bat. And so she'll be somebody that'll get on the field some this year, and I think will be a recognizable name for us going forward. And then Kylie Macy is a pitcher that just has a lot of the things that you look for from a makeup. Like, she has belief in herself. She's competitive. She has an attacking mindset. She's pretty resilient. So a lot of those things. And then on top of that, she can spin the ball pretty good. So those are the 2 freshmen that are most prepared to compete. And what we're excited about with this group is that, we have a really good locker room. And so the girls get along. They spend a lot of time together outside of the field. And we as a staff have tried to emphasize that social community part of the game. That's what brought most of them into the game in the first place, was being part of a team and all of the girls and the excitement of being part of a group. We've really tried to emphasize that, and our girls have embraced it. And so, I really like where we're at as far as a community and a locker room. And so that has been a welcoming place for the freshmen to come in, and I think they fit in well.
Thank you, Coach.
Anyone else with questions?
Are you?
Yeah.
There we go.
You and I talked in December about your coaching staff and the value they brought. We had Sydney in here earlier, and she was talking really glowingly about JT and Alyssa and just the whole coaching staff as a whole and how they're related. Can you talk about how your staff is related to the players? It sounded like it's really going swimming with.
Well, so far, it's always good. If you don't feel good about things now, then it's going to get a tougher road to hoe, obviously, as we move forward. But so far, it's been great. What I just really appreciate them is that they're investors in people. Like, they show up every day to try and figure out how they can be more invested in our players and how, we can help them grow. So that's the first thing I really like. The knowledge and the technical aspect of it, that's obviously important. But really it comes down to communication. We say all the time, I've said on the hitting side, it really doesn't matter how much I know. It only matters how much the players can translate and use. And so the ability to communicate that to the players is really the key to coaching. And they've been outstanding with that. And just, I really appreciate their different perspectives, personalities. We have great conversations that we all can, come at from different places and then come up with a unified decision. So it's been really great. And I can't wait to get the season started with them as coaches and us, kind of going forward.
Thank you.
Coach, you mentioned a little bit about recruiting. With it becoming more prevalent and you taking over this past summer, how are you maneuvering the transfer portal?
Well, I think it's a part of the culture today, right? It's just part of the deal. And so it's just another avenue. We did not participate in it per se last summer. That doesn't mean I didn't have some conversations or we didn't have some conversations with players, but truthfully, I just felt like the best way for our program to take a step forward this year was for our players to know that we were invested in them. And I think that's always the balance, is being able to recruit, continue to bring in an influx of talent, because at the end of the day, it all goes back to that. But also being able to communicate with your players in a way that they know that you still love them and are invested in them. The lineup is not a personal decision. It's a professional decision. So our job as coaches is to love the heck out of our players, so that whether they're in the lineup or not in the lineup, they know they're loved. So that I felt like it was important to get off on that sort of a foot this first year, and going forward, we're going to explore every avenue that we can to try and make sure that we put the best team on the field. And certainly I think that the transfer portal is a piece of that, but they've got to be the right fit, and they've got to be somebody that can come in and add value in a way that maybe we don't have or that we need.
Got time for a couple more questions for Coach.